Okay, hello, good evening, everybody. Darwish. Hello, hello. Who else is in the place here this evening? Got some funky price action to talk about. Yeah, we're gonna close high on Bitcoin, right? While taking our time. Yeah. This range has been evolving for a few weeks now. So ultimately, I guess we're gonna break it up and down, or both, maybe. I'm gonna try to see what makes more sense. Hey, EM. See you, Janie. Happy Friday to you. So, just checking, yeah, setting is correct. I'm struggling a bit to make the music at the right level, so you can hear it, but it's not above my voice. Sometimes I just check on the past live stream and I see that it's just really far away back. But anyway, it's not the most important things here. So, what did we have this week in terms of price action? Well, when was that? That was this week or last week? 6. Yeah, that was earlier this week. So we did wreck a bit of the lows here. Took liquidity both sides of this small internal range with a really nice setup here. Just bunch of short feeling, getting trapped on that move down and getting immediately squeezed. The thing here is that it was so quick that was pretty not the most easiest to get in trade on that. If you were not in front of your computer at the time or having limits orders down there. This morning was a bit more easy. Well, I went into a short at the first very top here. It spent some time overnight and this morning before breaking down, but again, quite some kind of setup. Well, that was a bit more aggressive long going in here. But when you get such a thing in a sideways move, you might end up with aggressive long forcing the short squeeze first. And yeah, that's what we got. Short squeeze here, very visible on the open interest. And then really nice boot trap at the end of the day, at the very high of the range, just after taking the liquidity that we have been haying for at least a bit more than a week. Taking the high here, really from a few bucks, and you see bunch of people following at the top here and get wrecked. And for now, well, that's where we are, basically. Overall, we still have a bit of constructing trend on the open interest here. As a question could be, are we going to do the same kind of things than here and manage to keep a higher low and keep going? I mean, the reaction so far is, I mean, it's holding still, but my first rule would be that, well, we're gonna continue down a bit at least for, well, yeah, raking a bit more liquidity and and maybe trapping here or taking the lows of the range, right? Or completely breaking down. You know, this kind of move here doesn't show, well, it shows relative weakness, right? Because you have really a lot of open interest here opening, getting trapped, and with nearly 100% rotation on the open interest, you manage to make a much more greater move down than up, obviously, because, well, there was no move up on the growing open interest, but still it shows you a bit of weakness, but at the same time it's still holding a lot of almost neutral here. But we're gonna come back onto some counts here to see. Can look for. Hey, Queenie is in the place. Nice moves these 2 days. Amazing trades. Yeah, indeed. That was a nice week for me as well. I mean, I had a few bad decks in the past few weeks. This week was a lot greater for me, so very much predictable. Hey, Joker is here. Good to see you, my man. Long time no see. So, you know, I had this idea over last week I talked about it already. I think that was pretty much a plan. Well, when was Friday already? How can I? Friday we were the first, so we were around. Oh no, we were down there last Friday. Okay, yeah, no, that was around during this week. Okay, time moves. So yeah, last week we were looking for this as a 4 and potentially a 5th. You know, I'm still kind of looking at the 24,300 level, maybe a bit above. We'll see, but I changed a bit the count from last week, where I was looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, to move this potential into a bit more extension into the 3rd, and that maybe just still a wave 4, so looking for a 5th still. I don't know, there's several possibilities, but to me it seems that this liquidity is primed to be taken at some point, and for now we took the liquidity above us, so above in this current local range, so ideally we should be breaking down now. There's a few ideas. I'm gonna come back on this. Just looking at the weekly chart first, because first is a weekly moving average. I have to change the chart because on the other one it's broken. And you know, we're still sitting at support. We still didn't close below the weekly level here. I don't think we made a daily. Yeah, we made a few daily close below it, but as of yet, we're still at support and moving along the 200 exponential moving average and below the 200 simple. So, you know, in theory, not necessarily a time to be too much bearish here. But at the same time, for me, it seems that we need at least a flush, and I want to see if we get a flush intra week, inside a weekly price action, or do we close a weekly candle below this support? Can we okay, let me rephrase this. Can we keep this as a support for the weekly close, especially this week, and maybe have a flush next week and reclaim it? That would make things look pretty good, in my opinion, you know, taking the liquidity here and keeping this kind of important support still. Well, always the 200 moving average. Or are we gonna drift down slowly and show a bit of weakness at the end of the week and then have a flush and see if we can reclaim still, or if we have a bigger flush? You know, now we're still at support on the high time frames. That's important to note, I believe. But otherwise, well, we obviously still have nice support below us, so I'm still looking at the same level, which are 24,300 and 23,300. Here, monthly, weekly mainly. We have anchor VWAP on the aggregated spot chart here. In this zone, we have a trend line support, which I think it's also a longer trend line. I think I remember seeing some chart. Yeah, that one, but here, pretty much the same. Kind of interesting support here. Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens next on the next move. I'm missing a bit of confluence for precision here with the lower time frame counts. But nonetheless, these are interesting support, you know, 22k and ultimately 19,000 with the liquidity below March low, which could happen on the next move. You know, it's not impossible. We can find something, but ideally for this, I would still like to see some kind of bounce here and then maybe come back here. Just time scale gonna be maybe a bit complicated here, because I would like the ball. It's a bit of a 2 cents, but personal stance. But I kind of like the idea of having a bottom in November, at least this year, end of year, and start to build back the beginning of the new trend. Or the beginning of next year, right? With the back idea of the obviously ETF and halving next year, and ETF potentially end of year. It's not a done deal, but for me it's like just like the stats of BlackRock ETF approval, which is 99.98%. It's pretty much my stance on the probability of a spot ETF approval. And even if it's slightly bullshit in my opinion, I understand that it's gonna be helpful for the narrative and can bring new cash into Bitcoin. Cannot deny it, it can have an effect. But yeah, the idea is, when is this gonna happen, and will we bottom prior to it or not? Or maybe we'll have, I don't know, you know, at that point that's just wild guess, you know, but maybe we finish to print a wave A, we get some kind of ETF news, we start to get a big pump and just a wave B, and then make like our last flush for some reason or not, and then go. And I kind of feel that this TF has good chances of happening before the end of the year, at least the Apple. So yeah, I think this. So I'm trying to fit the potential scenario with the timescale I have in mind, but both of them can be wrong, you know. So I still try to keep it loose a bit, right? The idea here is still remains the same, you know, is 5 waves up finished at the top of July, and then we have a wave A to finish and a potential wave B and a C. Well, we have a wave A, B, C. But the next move, well, wave B is undefined. Right? It can be very shallow, or it can be a lot stronger, depending on the news event that can explain or get into the narrative for the pump, right? If there's any. Or we have the scenario, what is that? Simple impulse, and we are at the end of a flat, which could mean we potentially very close to a bottom. Very close in the sense that the next move down could be the bottom. In fact, right? With the idea of an expanded flat here. You know, first wave finishing here, and an A, B, C looking to finish till this first wave. Both of them are mostly looking to finish 5 waves impulse from July high, which I still feel is unfinished, even if it is not impossible with a stop with double negation. Even if it is possible with a truncation here, fifth wave truncation, but that would probably mean a double truncation. It's really not what I would suggest to favor, unless it's getting validated. At some point, if we really reclaim that monthly and in a sustained minors, reclaiming the 200 daily moving average, etc., for a few days, retesting it as support. At some point, you gotta follow the new trend, right? Unless this happens, I'm more inclined to still short the bounces until we take the liquidity below and see. And ideally, would like a significant move down. Ideally, I want to take the low on derivative, the 23, but for now, and with the height of this fourth wave, we don't really have enough leg to go that low, or just we do have, but it's a bit just. There is an alternative, a few alternatives in fact, which will be a bearish, of course. There's always a bearish alternative. WXY formation that can highlighting this idea for simple fact that the sub count here from the end of the 29 August high here during the grayscale pump, the move from here to get a completion, to get a nice finish impulse move to our low target is a bit tricky. I'm talking about the other count, right? How to finish a fifth wave down here while we already have 5 waves finished or about to be finished where we are. It's different. Maybe we have a big flush here, this one. So in that case, you always have several options. But if you are in the 1, 2, 3, 4 and you have a big fifth, okay, then okay, each feet we may have a bit of a truncation, bit of extension on the last fifth, but we pretty much hit the target, so it kind of works. But otherwise, if we already have finished one here and we are in a 2, or we're about to finish one just slightly lower but not really reaching target fully, how do we get a classic impulse finishing in this target? It doesn't really fit, right? Because the extension would be a bit too much. So the target for the third wave of that degree would be too low, right? It can overextend the target of the higher degree fifth. In theory. Well, I mean in theory, because we can. That really is a good place to potentially building an ending diagonal, with a smaller third wave and smaller fifth wave and go into something like this. In that case, that could work. But I am keeping an alternative here indeed, which a bit of a wild card in mind. If we get another pump into a range here and retest a bit upper resistance, mostly looking at the monthly level around 27,200. I could see here's the same, right? Probably still a bit of ABC move, right? That will fit for WXY ID. That allow us to get a bit more, that give us a bit more room for lower targets. In fact, the wave X could be still in process within that idea. In fact, if I'm really sneaky, I could even say, well, maybe we get something like this, right? There's still probably a bunch of liquidity above this. I'm not really planning on that, well, for the fact that we already retested POC of the range in 200 moving average and clean, etc. So I don't think we need to go above this, and that was already pretty much what you can expect for an aggressive bull trap. So I don't think we need to go above this and to trap anything else, but everything's possible. Mostly the idea is that it's just for the local count from end of August, how do we approach this? Might keep in mind the idea of approaching it in an ABC manner, and in fact, wave Y can take many forms. I'm suggesting ABC here, but maybe we do ABC and that end up being wave W of Y, right? WXY, for example. It can stay in a floppy price action here. Of course, we are into the period where we have to keep our plans wide and well diversified enough, because this is most likely a corrective moving process and probably the last corrective move before the big part of the bull run, right? The big bull run of this cycle. And yeah, probably not gonna be simple to time the low very well. Most important will be obviously to be able to recognize, even after the fact, that the low is in and we're in a new trend, and jump strongly enough into that new trend. That was kind of my mistake during this 2 weeks ago during this pump, when I recognized a bit of the character of what could have been a new trend, but it wasn't. Anyway, gonna keep all of that in mind, keep looking at the chart, and keep approaching as simple as possible while still overcomplicated things with some Elliott Wave on top of that. Because things are a lot more funny when you're overcomplicated, right? And that was what I was thinking the other day. I think I talk about, like many of people, like many of you, of course, that level, I think I talked about it last week, right? Even if transaction was not pulled up like this yet. And I made a few counts and a few more during this 5 minutes count extra, and at the end of the day, that was just how to overcomplicate the chart while taking the most simple trade possible, right? Which is just an SFP of the local high, of the high of the range. And that's also why I didn't really overcomplicate it by printing 5, 10 counts during that price action. I just know that was my target of sell liquidity, 50% retrace for wave 4, and yeah, pretty much it. But if I were looking at this and try to count it sensibly, gosh, well, you have your 1, 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 3, 4, 5. Okay, that does work with a truncation here on USDT, but it's a higher high on spot and others. But then what do you have? You have your move up here on your consolidation here. Okay, and that's not so much of a complication, but probably with this, first idea would be to say, okay, that's another 1, 2. So you got a 1, 2 and a 3, and you're gonna continue here and 1, 2. But yeah. Now this is kind of clear enough, in the sense that we have an obvious third wave here. We're gonna see how the next move gonna be. The next tackle the low, if there is one. But yeah, at least that's how I'm approaching it right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Would like to see a 5th. Finally, take these lows here. Go into wave 4 retrace over the weekend. Ranging with potential target. Can we take? Oh, yeah, we could take this bounce high maybe. You know, if you flush here tonight, get your reaction and get your whatever happened over the weekend, and you get a pump on Sunday evening, and an SFP of this, well, you got another short, right? That would be just like exactly like almost exactly like last week. That was Sunday, yeah, Sunday evening. You get your flush on Friday, and you could have, but you didn't really. And it is a test of the high. That said, if I'm keeping in a more neutral stance here on this local price section, this low time price section, I could say, well, okay, maybe if I do this, I have 3 wave. Maybe that's an overextension wave C. I'm kind of willing to get this a bit more than I used to. It's a bit deep for C, but we're seeing this more and more in Bitcoin. So in theory, that could be an ABC move down, complete, maybe reverse. I mean, even here in theory, it just doesn't look finished on the low time frame. And maybe we are, you know, if we are in some kind of wave B here or wave W, we might get back above yesterday high. So maybe instead of being a wave 4 here, we'll have an A, B, take liquidity still, most likely. I mean, yeah. Or W here, W, X, Y. Above golden buckets, you will have liquidity here. Monthly, I mean. I would not completely exclude it, but my bias would be to take the low. Now we're gonna be into the same problem here again. How do you get to your wave 5 target down there at 24,300 with this beginning here? In theory, if we do this for 5th, maybe we're gonna have just a small one here, taking finally that liquidity from August 22 here, the one that is really, I believe, and very likely to get taken. And the one that is kind of making me looking for more, to take liquidity at the low of that range, right? What would happen here if we just finish this? In theory, that could be a valid 5th for the higher degrees as well. Or we keep it inside, and then we can have target that makes sense. Back test. I guess so. You know, we still higher low. Come back, take these 2 highs. Retest POC of the range. Daily of the block, and then 3, 4, 5. That would be nice. Yeah. Well, for now, I don't know. You're gonna have to keep following. What I know is I would be rather inclined to take a long here. I'm keeping my short running, so I mean I took profits already, but the rest I'm keeping it. In fact, with the high aim of the 24th round, right? Basically. Then it's 6, yeah. Let me get the target here. So the idea would be to be a buyer here. We stack profit on POC. Retest of previous support. Weekly. And potentially short somewhere. Yeah. Which might really well not happen. I'm saying this, but for now we are doing the same thing on the smaller time frame here and still holding 1-1 extension with a bit of kind of founding flip back. Okay. Flash a bit of wrong. We're seeing spot a bit moving here. Is this updated? No, it's not. And broken. The process fixing that. Okay, no, okay, that's fine. Now, earlier I was saying founding, diving a bit into negative here with spot in blue here, buying and a bit of bullish divergence here on derivative, which is the case. It's still kind of, we stopped out a bit of the late long, but that's still fine, I think. I mean, still fine from a downside. You know, you can still have an extension here, and you can still pump more, right? Especially with the idea we have the lower target for the fifth of higher degree here. In theory, what we are in right now, even if it looks good as a third, fourth, fifth, maybe finishing, I can see more capitulation here, right? If I take my target for that degree third wave here, 1, 2, it's possible that it's going much lower, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, it's gonna be stretched out a bit. I guess that could work. Yeah. Which could mean maybe a 1, 2 here. 3, 4, 5, right? Something along this line. I'm not completely excluding that we have a bigger bounce and come back here. Still ish. Like I said, I hardly see us getting back above this right now. I think we have no chance to go down, but I can be wrong as always. There's always somebody else on the other side, right? Okay, I think that's covered pretty much, so there's still a lot of possibilities, right, on each time frames. And I'm gonna be honest, that's not gonna get more simple as we advance closer and closer to a bottom. Probably not. At least in terms of count. In terms of price action, that's not so hard. You just have to sort every F pump, right? Especially as soon as you get that simple setup where you squeeze your position and you see. That was as simple as possible. You squeeze your short and you have a lot of interest opening with bear div here and spot bear div everywhere. You can always argue that when diamond 10 it's gonna continue, but I would like to see a bit of a bear trap, a bit more. Yeah, I don't feel we saw enough. I mean, we are potentially in a bear trap overall. In this. Right. Maybe the deviation below the 200 DD. Below emotional level. What is this? What is this? Here. No comments? Okay. I guess you all agree. I'm just drinking my opinions. So I was looking a bit, just trying to always take another perspective here, just mainly on the volume side on this time frame. They look like weakness, right? You have your volume while pushing the squeeze, but a big part of the volume at the top. And you have sustained selling into liquidity, and then here the two volume are into the short squeeze and into bull traps, and then lowest volume here coming down more easily, just the same way that open interest drive down, close a lot more. The long closing produced a lot more heavy move down than the short closing caused the move up. Right. I mean, overall, because if we really look at the open interest from a neutral stance, we could maybe compare just this one with this one. So this with this, which is kind of equal. It's not the right. 420 donuts. $380. In terms of close, we close a lot lower here as well. But yeah, you also have a lot more open interest closing here. It's kind of interesting, this stuff here. It will be about time for some weekend flush. Yeah, isn't it? And I don't know if we'll have the flush over the weekend. I think it's possible we just range over the weekend, right? Just a small flush here locally. Yeah, potentially extend to the range. And we'll see, do we flush over the weekend and end up closing below support Sunday, or even really lower, or having the flush and starting a new range lower? Or can we sustain this for the weekend and flush after the close? I will to give a wild guess. Well, I say we flush and close below support Sunday evening. We hold up around here into the range over the weekend. We kind of make a bull trap on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, and we flush before the close. Or start drifting down before the close and flush. It's really just a wild taste. Anyway, yeah, I guess that settled my stance on Bitcoin, right? There's not so much more to talk about. I mean, if you finish this here, it takes a low and kind of, you know, starting to change of character, might have to really forget about this for a bit. There will still be the possibility of an A, B, C, right? I have two of them now. Otherwise, what else do we have? I think. Oh yeah, 1, 2. I could maybe highlight a bearish count, if you'd like. A much more bearish count. You know, if you want to fit the trap price action, it's not trap price action for the bullish narrative that we have in mind. Would it be possible that we are going to see a big sell-off either around the halving or around the ETF announcement, just to, you know, fade off and wrecked everybody, change a bit what have, well, change significantly what have happened in each previous cycle? Because for now we're just following the same kind of pattern that each previous cycle, where we bottom a year prior to the halving, basically a year and a half. In fact, in November or December, like here. And now it seems a bit too much simple, right? It's like, I don't know. Where is the trap? Where is the Max Payne scenario? What is it? Is it to front run? So is it to make just one last little move here and start to go? Is it gonna be that simple with we're just printing an ABC and we doing our 1, 2 here, and we go, and everybody can read it simply and pack up as much as they want, just prior to everything? Or are we gonna see a sell event on one or both of this foolish news narrative, and eventually reach a profit blue target or whatever, 9K target, and just print a big ABC? At what point is everybody getting wrecked? Is it taking the 15K low? Because it seems obvious this is a low, this is a very good low. It follow very much a lot of indicators and cycles and everything. Or maybe just a drift below it, ABC, that's cool. And keep in mind, don't just bet your life saving like this with liquidation. They do 15K, right? That's a very good trade, right? I'm just saying, don't bet your life on it. There's always a trap possible. No, maybe BlackRock need to wreck a lot of miners to buy them all. They only have a few billions in for now. Enough to have access to a bunch of liquidity. Anyway, that's just our disgrace in here. A little word here on uranium, just once a year. I think that was last year. I talked about it last time. I still have another narrate here. We can take the 17 box here into the golden bucket. That would be really nice. But will likely be a long. I mean, that look like a good investment, right? If you go out of 2,000 days, whatever, how many years is that? 2015 to 21, so 5-6 years here of accumulation, and we are seeing just so much volume coming in, especially since COVID, right? Volume has been building in like crazy on I don't know, every uranium related chart I'm looking at. And yeah, I'm looking for potentially new, like a 10x, but that can take a long time. You know, ideally that's a weekly chart. I would not mind if we can be still around there when Bitcoin hits its $100,000+. That would greatly rebalance some Bitcoin profit into uranium at that point. But I have an idea. And yeah, you can look at the 10 years time frame on that. There's wheat stock starting to move since a few weeks as well. Especially, I mean, it's really small yet. I've been down so much, but it looked like your classic shitcoin chart, right? It's starting to change of character, and some greater than others, but there's volume coming in here. I don't know if there's a new legislation coming in or what. You have your change of character here. keep an eye on that as well. You have a range still? No, but you have a change of character and you have volume kicking. IY, I think it's the biggest, yeah. IY air. Yeah, nice volume of the break, and it's down so much. And max pain, when we pump to 48k, everyone gets very bullish for halving, and we just drop the hell. I mean, yeah. Yeah. That's another IOD, in fact, yeah. I didn't show here, but that could be. I'm not sure I would fade it, but yeah, 5 waves, whatever. We can do an ABC here to the 50k liquidity and still print that bigger ABC and have the halving as a sell event. So. Halving plus ETF starting trade. But some risk assets are moving right now, so yeah. There's some altcoins doing some nice moves. There's with stock and US stocks are not that great at the moment. So still fairly neutral, but we have a nice impulse down here. Now we might come back to golden pocket, or we test a bit of resistance here, but I would clip it on a lower high here. Maybe ranging, but ultimately I think, you know what I think, probably. What Russell is doing, have that in mind. Look at that. In a few months since I look at it. I'd show you that, yeah, not so much interest assets in fact. Yeah, that's what American stock look like when you take out Tesla, Microsoft, and co. Yeah. There is not as much bullishness in this chart at the moment. Well, it's a rounded bottom, but rather weak. ABC maybe, or lower high. Yeah, whatever. I guess that's gonna be hold for me today, unless I forget something. More or less, yeah, I always do live stream without any scripts, so let you think back, but yeah, I think I forget it. This is a fear and greed index that is still into, well, neutral for stock and still into greed here on BTC tools. It's still growing, which is kind of weird. Well, there's divergence with the more known alternative .me, which is more into fear, neutral to fear. But it should read. I don't know what. I am not sure why. I mean, there's a lot of talk about on ZTF being a dumb deal. So. Maybe that's what making the algorithm doing some grid here. But supposedly it's based as well on price action, open interest, etc. And there's not and founding and stuff, but it's not like we are so much into anything. Well, we're not so much oversold, right? In fact, we are seeing open interest growing into pumps, so excitement getting in back quickly into each pump. It's not shorts FOMOing here. Yeah, it's rather below neutral level, which is 0.01, but it's not so much negative. It's slightly more negative than it was here. Yeah. We'll see, because we still have the same pattern potential, the one that I showed several times, where you going to move down, you squeeze a bit here, then you come back taking internal liquidity and you flatten out pumping, which is exactly the same thing that we are doing in the large time frame. Bit of bearishness, pumping early, coming back into an impulsive move down into liquidity, internal liquidity, and flattening it. A bit what we are doing here again. And what we saw on the chart that I don't have here. Don't have? No. We have negative funding into the pump, so yeah, maybe we're more bullish than I believe. It's true, I am still open to get longs here on internal liquidity. That's gonna be my final word. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Hope you have a good time with me, an interesting one at least. And well, I see you soon, hopefully. In the meantime, go touch grass, as one say. Take care, have fun, and see you all again soon. Thanks again. Bye.